Hi, I'm Katie. Welcome to Yoga Awakening, and welcome to this Yin Yoga practice for better sleep. So just like the title would suggest, this will be a really nice practice to do as you wind down your day, transition to rest. You could even do this right before you get into bed. For your props in today's class, I'm sitting up on a blanket. You might like to have a blanket as well for some of our later shapes. You also might like to have a bolster like I have, or a couple of pillows from your bed would be perfect. A strap substitute, and a block or a couple of blocks. Now, don't worry if you don't have all of those things. Bring what you have. If you don't have any of it, maybe you can just find a blanket from your bed, a pillow from your bed. That will be just fine. So welcome back to our Yin Rejuvenation series. This is a free month-long Yin Yoga program. So designed for everyone new to Yin Yoga or not. I hope you enjoy this class. So let's get started. If you were sitting up on your blanket like I was as you got started, you can set that off to the side for the moment. We're going to come right away into our first shape. And this will be lying down on your back, so make your way down to your mat. Start off here in this Shavasana-like shape. Before we come into our pose, I invite you to take 3 rounds of breath. Inhaling in, exhaling out. 2 more. A big inhale in, big exhale out. One more with me. Inhaling in, maybe you bring the hands to the belly and feel it rise as you take your breath. Exhale, soften as you release all the air out. So we're already starting this transition from maybe the more yang phase of the day, busyness, and into our more yin phase of the day, the evening, the nighttime, maybe already getting ready for bed. Let those breaths sort of mark your transition onto your mat into this time for sort of a conscious rest. So let's take our Bananasana pose, sometimes also called half moon or reclined half moon. I think the banana image is the best one. So I'll walk my heels over towards the right edge of my mat. They might come towards the edge, maybe even off, depending on the size of your mat there. And then I'll keep my hips and pelvis where they are, and I'll walk my shoulders, neck, and head over towards the right as well. And you might start off with a slightly bigger stretch, walking them as far as they can go. And then I encourage you to actually unwind that maybe just an inch, a centimeter, just a tiny bit. Come on out. This pose, I think, can creep up on you as we stay for a few moments. Stay here. Hands could continue on the belly, arms by the sides. I really like the variation of bringing arms up and overhead. you can grab the left wrist with the right hand. Final option is to take the left ankle on top of the right. Stop once you find the variation that feels like it's working for you in this moment. Then we'll spend a couple of minutes see if you can start to connect into the body, and hopefully the subtle sensation that you're creating here in the shape helps you to do that. Maybe feeling this tug along the skin all the way from the left foot up through the left side of the body, up through the left armpit. Maybe you feel it all the way into the left fingertips. Don't worry if the mind is perhaps still active from the day. There's no need to change it. All you need to do here, let it be your only goal, your only point of attention, is just to be present. So continue to feel sensation in the body. Maybe the sensation of the breath. Maybe a more energetic sensation. If you have the arms overhead, start to reach them down by the sides of the body. Uncross the ankles if they were crossed, and make your way back to center. So readjust, find your neutral pose. And then we'll take that over to our second side. So feet, heels off towards the left. And then lifting shoulders, neck and head towards the left. Adding any of those other options as you like. Right ankle on top of left. Maybe the left hand grabs the right wrist. So just noticing whatever you've come to your practice with. Maybe that energetic sensation is a particular emotion from the day. Maybe something strong and clear, maybe something a little bit fuzzier and hard to pinpoint. Maybe it's as simple as observing an active mind, maybe still planning or thinking about the evening ahead, thinking about tomorrow. So your only goal here, the only thing that you really need to attend to, is just that act of observation. Your pure awareness, noticing, oh, okay, an active mind, lots of thoughts. Maybe a subtler sensation or emotion to notice. Maybe just the pure and simple sensation of being in this shape. Start to bring the arms down by the sides of the body, walk shoulders, neck and head back to center, uncross the ankles. Find your way back to neutral, and now notice those two side lines of the body. Maybe you can imagine the breath not only expanding up as you inhale, but even out into those sides of the waist, sides of the rib cage. Let's come into our figure 4. So bring your feet to the mat. And we'll cross the right ankle on top of the left thigh. Feel free to stay here, left foot planted. Maybe using the right hand to press the right thigh away. Or you could opt to lift the left foot off the mat, thread the hands through to grab either the back of the thigh, perhaps the calf. Take a moment to activate through the feet, point and flex the toes. Maybe some little rolls of the ankles. And then really intentionally soften the feet. Let the ankles release. Let the toes point in or out, however they do. If you're holding on to the back of the thigh, you could keep the calf parallel. I think it feels especially nice, especially in this before bed class, to let that go too. Letting go of a little more muscular activity. As you settle in here, take some little wiggles of the jaw. Eyes closed. A little left to right. Maybe even a circular shape. Maybe you even make some funny faces and you scrunch up all the muscles of the face, scrunching the eyes. It's so nice about our home practice that you know that no one is watching you. Scrunching, 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 and then with a big sigh, exhale, soften those muscles. Maybe you do that one more time, another wiggle of the jaw, just a gentle opening and closing of the mouth, maybe another scrunch of the muscles. I'm the only one doing this on camera, so if you're in your space by yourself, feel free to make a funny face, feel those muscles activating, and then soften. Let's release our figure 4 on the first side. And here is where you might like your strap. You could skip this if you don't have it, or use a scarf. Just send the right leg up so that the sole of the right foot is pointing towards the ceiling-ish. Let's leave the left foot planted on the mat. So strap coming around the ball of the right foot. And I encourage you here to take a little bend in the knee. So even if you can straighten out nice and long, draw the foot towards the face, let it be a little softer. You could take a really generous bend too if the hamstrings are feeling a little tight. Finally, relax the hands and the shoulders. Feel both sides of the pelvis just get heavy as they press down into the floor. Bend through the right knee even more so you can take the strap away. Right foot returns to the mat, and we'll take our figure 4 on the second side. Left ankle crosses. Come into what hopefully is starting to feel like just some blissful stillness and quiet. One more time to activate through the feet. Maybe take those ankle circles now in the opposite direction as the first side. And then stillness once again. Release your right foot to the mat, and then your left foot. Let's take our hamstring pose to the second side. So find your strap again, this time around the ball of the left foot. Extending, straightening through the leg a little or a lot. Keep coming back to that act of observation. In that act of observation, what you're really allowing yourself is presence. Is time and space to be with yourself as you are. Starting to let go of the day, maybe even of all the worldly things. As you transition to this yin time, introspective and quiet. It's time for the inner world to come alive. Start to bend through your knee a little more so that you can set your strap off to the side. Planting both feet. And if it feels nice, you could take a moment just to bend the knees and send them towards the chest, maybe hands hugging around the shins. Maybe you even start to curl into a little ball, sending nose towards the knees. It certainly doesn't need to touch. Maybe you clasp around the forearms, drawing yourself into an even smaller shape. And then release shoulders, neck, head back to the mat if they were lifted. We'll open the knees out to either side to come into this happy baby variation that I really like. So hands will come from the inner knees down towards the calves. So my arms are on the inside of the knees of the legs. Might feel good to leave the hands there. Maybe it's accessible to grab the ankles. Maybe you prefer to leave the hands coming around sort of the top part of the knee, resting the elbows on the mat. Just have another relatively brief pause here. So find your shape in this happy baby. Settle in. We're just aiming for a little bit of sensation through the area of the groin, maybe the inner thighs, maybe the hips. See if you can allow a little bit more weight from the legs to drop into the hands. Let the hands be the support. And then from there, see if you can relax the arms and shoulders a little more. A little bit of a balancing act. Let's take a breath in and a breath out. Use the hands to draw the knees back towards one another. Then set the feet down so that you can shift the hips and roll over to either side. Coming through this fetal position. Make your way up to a seat. And this is where you might like to grab your blanket. And I'll fold mine up so that I have just a little bit of height to prop the hips and the sitting bones on. You could fold yours up a little bit thicker or grab a couple of bath towels or blankets and stack them. And let's go ahead and extend the right leg out towards the right, and then we'll keep the left heel drawing in towards center. So coming into this half butterfly or half dragonfly pose, depending on how you think about it, we'll start off with a simple twist over towards the right. We just have a couple of moments here. See if you can feel yourself sitting up taller. Might activate through the right leg, gently pressing the right heel into the mat. Make your way back towards center. And we're going to take this down into a little bit of a forward fold. So I'm going to find my bolster for this one. Might actually be really nice to have a block as well to go along with your bolster. A couple of bed pillows would work perfectly. And then let's make our way forwards, any amount. Maybe that's just coming halfway, finding your props underneath so you can rest the forearms. And just bow the head. Maybe you opt to come down a little further forwards. Maybe you find a way to rest the forehead on a prop. See if you can allow yourself to completely surrender here. Surrender to what is. Let go of any worry about what will be. Slowly lift the head if it was lowered. And use the hands to press yourself up and out of that forward fold. You can set your props off to the side for the moment. And we'll switch our legs. And use the hands again to guide the legs. Extend the left. Let's come into our twist over to the left, left hand behind. Maybe you find that gentle activation through the left leg, pressing down into the heel. Unwind your twist and we'll take our forward fold one more time. Find those props again. And set them up so you can be comfortable. We'll begin to come out of the shape. Find your neutral spine. And if you were using a block, you'll keep that nearby and set any other props off to the side. You could also do this final shape that we have with the bolster. You could even do it with a rolled up towel. Whatever you have that feels firm and supportive, we're going to make our way into a supported bridge pose. And of course, if you don't have any of those props, you can do it without. A nice variation for the supported bridge pose would be a legs up the wall, or you can even come to bring the shins to a couch or a chair, and then lie back, and then the upper body will essentially be in your Shavasana. And I suggest that if you're about to get into bed right after this practice, you might even pause the video for a moment and make your way into bed now. And you could, if you have that wall behind your bed or anywhere there, you could even take legs up the wall in the bed, which I think is really nice. Or you could come to the edge of your bed, and if it's not too high, bring the shins just like I showed with the couch. So you have a few options here. And I'll opt for the supported bridge, and that might feel especially nice if you're transitioning into your evening and not quite ready for bed yet. So choose your gentle inversion. Any of those are great. I like my block on the second height. It might feel more supportive for you to have two blocks stacked on their lowest height, or certainly just one block on its lowest height. Make sure the block is right underneath the sacrum there, sort of in line with the hips, so that the low back can just drape off the block. If you're transitioning to bed, you could even cover the upper body with a blanket. If you have legs on a chair or a couch, you could bring a folded blanket for underneath the hips. Feel like the body can become effortless, maybe even weightless, just draping over the prop. Imagine as though the body were almost suspended in space and time. Every muscle relaxed. Just a feeling of complete ease washing through into the body. Let's draw the hands to heart center. So you could just allow the video to come to an end. Take another moment or two before you lower the legs or roll off to one side. Allowing yourself to move slowly. Wishing you a good rest. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste.